ourselves started. Arthritis, that's what we're going to talk about today. I'll just get my screen organized here. So has anybody taken this class with me before? So a lot of good information, and so you might have taken it once already, once or twice. It's a good idea to take classes a couple times just so you feel, like you are, it's sinking in, and sometimes you have questions the second time you hear it. All right, so as long as everyone can see my screen, the objectives for today, we're going to look at understanding the different types of arthritis and their causes. Okay, so we're going to be looking at that. We're gonna actually go through the 9 ways to naturally relieve your arthritis. Now, this is fantastic because this is where our doctors don't always have a whole lot of treatment for us when we have when we have arthritis. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking, you're trying to improve your arthritis symptoms and there's really not a lot of treatment. Well, you're going to find out today that I'm going to give you 9 ways to actually relieve some of the pain and the symptoms you're having. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're also going to look at 5 different foods that I do believe will help you with your arthritis symptoms. All right, well, let's get into it. So how many types of arthritis do you think there are? Have any ideas, anybody? You just take yourself off the mute if you want to answer. You can put your answer in the chat. If you're in the lounge, you can also put your answer in the chat. Emma can bring the question to me. How many do you think there are? Hello to SJ. I don't know what it stands for, but thanks for the little hello in the chat. What do you think? 3. Okay. That's a good guess. It's hard when you're trying to think of what kind of arthritis are there. There's actually over 100 different types of arthritis and the related conditions. So not all arthritis, but some that are very related to arthritis. But that still is a lot, isn't it? So what is arthritis? Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. Arthritis is an inflammation of the joints that can cause that debilitating joint pain. That's the worst, is the pain, isn't it? Before I actually updated my diet, because that did make a difference for my knee pain. I used to have knee pain, like literally from the arthritis. I would be out walking, and if I hadn't warmed my knees up, I'd be sort of in pain. Didn't like it. I was really worried back in 2019. I remember, because it was before COVID. We were going to Australia for a trip, and I knew I'd be doing a lot of walking, even just in the airports, and moving around. I was so worried about the trip because my knee pain was really bad. So I think I did up to like 7 physio treatments before I went, so that it was the best it could be before I left. Now, fast forward to now, I learned more about diet and some of the things that might have been causing pain in my knees. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we get to it. There's actually around 50 million people in the United States that have arthritis. 300,000 children. Who knew that it was actually a disease for children? I didn't really, even though I'm a nurse. That's what we call arthritis ageless. So if you have kids or grandkids, people that are young people, and they're having some issues with mobility and things like that, it could be arthritis. So just keep that in mind. The causes and treatments options for the different types of arthritis vary. They actually vary. So let's get started with the most common type of arthritis, and that's osteoarthritis. There's around 27 million adults in the United States with osteoarthritis. So with osteoarthritis, and we call it O8 for short, OA, this is what we call a degenerative type of arthritis, which means it gets worse over time. We also call it that wear and tear. Have you ever heard that term, wear and tear arthritis? That's what this one is. This is the most common one. If you're not sure what type you have, likely it's this type of arthritis. With osteoarthritis, as there's the wear and tear, it's like your bones, your joint is like this, And as the cartilage wears down, the bones get closer and closer until they're touching. When you get that touching of the bone and the rubbing next to each other, I mean, it is excruciating. I don't need to tell you what the pain feels like. You know, when you have bone on bone, which is the medical term, that's what we call bone on bone, you know, it is excruciating. Really what happens is the bones are touching each other. You're damaging the bone. Your body tries to heal you. So it tries to like protect the bone by building up like what we call a callus or a bone spur to protect the bone. But what happens is now it's really touching each other and it's hurting. It hurts. Again, it's your body's way of healing. It's trying to save you. It's trying to save the bone from having damage. But this is osteoarthritis, degenerative. It's a degenerative disease, gets worse over time. What are the risk factors for this type of OA? Well, age, just age. You know, after age 40, you are at just higher risk of getting osteoarthritis. I think it's age 40. Obesity. If you are overweight, if you're carrying a whole lot of extra weight on your body frame, there's more wear and tear. You're setting yourself up for osteoarthritis. Injury, if you've ever injured a body part, that's what happened to me when I was younger. I injured my left knee. I got hit by a power cart actually on a golf course, and it banged in the side of my knee, and my knee has never been the same since. It healed, but I developed osteoarthritis in my knee because of it. Do I have osteoarthritis in the other knee? Probably. So I think it just happened faster in my one knee because of the injury. Family history is huge. If you have family history of osteoarthritis, that can be a risk factor for you. A lot of us do. And joint overuse, what does that mean? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. You are overusing a particular joint. Is it from skiing? Is it from playing a particular sport like tennis? Are you using that elbow over and over and over again? The wrist. Is it a part of your job? Did you, type for a living when we used to have the old style typewriters, and a lot of people ended up with arthritis in their fingers. So the most obvious with the joint overuse is sports and occupation, but it's real, and it's a real thing. What are the symptoms of osteoarthritis? Well, joint soreness, you guys can tell me, joint soreness, morning stiffness, pain, discomfort, lack of coordination, increasing disability. The things you used to be able to do, you're just scared to do now. You just don't think you can handle it anymore. So you avoid certain activities. All that sort of feeling of increased disability. It's not a great feeling. Maybe the kids or the grandkids are of a certain age. They want grandma or grandpa to come for the hike with them. And you're just like, oh gosh, I'm not, my knees or my hip or my, shoulders are not gonna be able to handle it. So you start avoiding doing things. This is very common. Very, very common when it comes to increasing disability from osteoarthritis. All right, are there any questions about osteoarthritis? It is the most common. This is the one that most people will end up having if they do get it. Not much else to say about it other than it does tend to get worse over time because there's more wear and tear. I mean, unless you just stop moving, and of course that's not good for you either. So as long as you're moving, using the joints, there's going to be some wear and tear. The second arthritis I want to talk about is rheumatoid arthritis. This is called RA for short. This is different cause. This is an autoimmune disease, which means autoimmune, self-inflicted in a sense. So what's really happening with this one is your body, your immune system gets riled up and it thinks there's something wrong. Something's in the blood. There's something foreign there. They don't like to call it a foreign body. This is the medical term. And you get all riled up. Something's not right. So you start to attack sometimes a healthy joint. That's what rheumatoid arthritis is. You are self-attacking yourself because you think there's a problem. So what happens is your joint starts to wear down, starts to get degrade. because of the autoimmune disease. How can you tell that you have RA? Well, RA, you really have that morning stiffness. Very similar is the symmetricalness of, that's a word, for RA. So if you've got a problem with the fourth finger on this hand, you probably have the same problem on the other hand. It's very symmetrical. The other thing is that with RA, this is where you see the joint deformities. You know, like the joint starts to twist and move and turn. In osteoarthritis, the one we just talked about, it's kind of invisible unless you're limping along and someone thinks and figures out that you've got a problem. Usually with OA, you don't really see it, visually see it. You feel it, people don't see it. With RA, you can see it. It's usually some kind of deformity, usually in the fingers and the toes. You go, okay, this person has rheumatoid arthritis. Now, for the not so good news, you can actually have both at the same time. So sometimes people go, I'm not sure which one I have. I can't tell. You might have osteoarthritis of your knee, but you've got rheumatoid arthritis in your fingers, in your hands. So you can have both. They have different causes. You can have both, unfortunately. Not great. All right, now remember I mentioned children. Children can have arthritis. Juvenile arthritis is the umbrella term, and then all the ones for kids will come under that. Juvenile idiopathic arthritis, juvenile lupus, juvenile scleroderma. There's a whole slew. That's what sort of makes up that 100 arthritis types. You have a lot here for children. But what about us adults? What other types could we have? Maybe you've heard of spondyloarthropathies. It's a mouthful to say. Spondyloarthropathies. These are the things like ankylosing spondylitis, reactive arthritis, psoriatic arthritis. You might know of that famous golfer, Phil Mickelson in the United States. He has had psoriatic arthritis his whole life, and he has been able to manage and, play professional golf and has done quite well for himself. And so, having arthritis is not a death sentence, but it definitely needs managing. And what you're going to learn today are some 9 ways to actually relieve and improve your pain and discomfort from your arthritis. I have an itchy nose today. So what about lupus? Who's heard of lupus? Lupus is actually a connective tissue disease. It mimics rheumatoid arthritis quite a bit. Right now, I work as a health coach outside of GetSetUp, and one of my clients has lupus. She's like 50. Lupus can be quite painful, and you get that, swelling like in the hands and the joints, and it's tough. And there's a lot of symptoms that relate to rheumatoid arthritis. That's why we have it up on the screen. Gout. Has anybody had gout? That's when you get that excruciating pain in the feet, where it feels like somebody's stabbing your big toe. That is from an accumulation of uric acid. Uric acid you get from your foods and other things, but the uric acid accumulates and turns into crystals, urate crystals. The crystals have those sharp edges, and that's what sort of feels like it's stabbing into the foot and into the big toe. If you have a gout attack, believe me, you're not going anywhere. You are like homebound. You're in bed. You can't even stand on your foot, let alone, go and shower or do anything like that. Gout can be very, very painful. Stacy, you can get gout in other areas. It's just that it's very common to be in the feet. I'm not really sure about that, if that's where the accumulation of the uric acid ends up, but yes, you can have gout in other spots. Usually for gout, it's a real change in your diet. Like there's foods that are called purines. Purines, I'll put it in the chat here. Purines are foods that are high in uric acid. Like they once you eat purines, you end up, the off thing is the uric acid. So you really have to avoid purine foods if you are prone to gout. The other thing about gout is there are a couple of medications you can take, like colchicine, and there's a few others that are preventative types of medication to keep your gout at bay, because what it does is just helps to eliminate, reduce your uric acid load, so you don't end up in the gout attack. So a lot of people take it as a preventative medication. There's also gout medication you take when you're in an attack. But a lot of people I know actually take the preventative medication just so they don't get it to start. Once you have it, it's painful. Now, fibromyalgia is the last one that I want to kind of talk about before we move into the 9 ways of relieving arthritis. Fibromyalgia is something kind of related to arthritis. It affects trigger points around your body. The real telltale sign you have fibromyalgia is that pain that you have, and it can move around the body depending on the trigger point. So you might have like some pain in your left shoulder for a couple of months, and it finally starts to improve, and now your right knee is hurting. And it's one of these things people used to think, oh, is this person a little cuckoo because the pain is moving around the body? And it wasn't taken very serious. I've worked in medical for many, many years, like 30 plus years. And I used to work in a job where we did more disability management. And believe me, in that medical field, fibromyalgia was sort of laughed at in the beginning. It's like, oh, this is in this person's head, their pain's moving around their body. How is that possible? But it's trigger points that we have around our body that it's where it can like migrate and move around. So, it's legit. It is a legitimate medical condition, fibromyalgia. All right. Any questions before we move into the ways that we can improve our arthritis? Any comments from anybody or questions? Sure, SJ.
Hello, class. I think I'm getting arthritis because at nighttime, my leg falls asleep and it wakes me up, and my hand, it has a pain in it until I shake it. And that's from all that sleeping at night. Wouldn't that be part of arthritis? Or is this falling asleep?
Yeah, okay, so let me just say this. Well, first of all, like I do have lots of medical background. I have a nursing degree, I've got functional nutrition, I'm a certified health and life coach, but I am not a doctor. So whatever you learn in class today, talk to your doctor, practitioner. Just ensure before you start doing anything that I teach today that you do talk to your doctor. But it's hard for me to diagnose by like just hearing those few little simple things. Arthritis does sort of flare up, but you feel and notice it more at nighttime because we're like silent, right? We're silent, we're sleeping, and then the pain, the throbbing happens after a full day. Maybe you've been on your feet too long, maybe something happened. Sometimes we're sleeping so deeply, and I do this, I sleep almost on my hands, and I'll wake up and my hand will be like numb because I had my hand underneath me. I kind of tend to sleep like that. I don't know what style of sleep that is, other than like I do kind of tuck my hands in underneath me when I'm sleeping. Maybe that's you. Sometimes people have other leg issues like restless leg syndrome. Maybe you don't have enough magnesium in your diet and therefore your muscles are spasming a little bit. That can cause leg pain and leg movement happening at night. So it's really hard for me to tell. If I was working with you, if you were one of my health clients, I would be able to ask a whole bunch of questions. But just to answer your question, could it be arthritis? Absolutely, it could be. But that's about all I can say about that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So as we get into this, I just want to mention that our health practitioners, our family doctors, whoever is looking after you, they're usually pretty open to you trying different things, alternative methods to help your arthritis. Why? I don't know, because I think they don't have a lot to offer us. But say if you were to go to your cardiologist, your heart specialist, they just don't want to hear about, that special tea that you're trying. They just want you to follow their medical advice. Same with like the brain doctor and some other types of doctors, but our family doctors are a little bit more open because I just don't think they have a lot to offer us when it comes to arthritis. But today you're going to learn some few things. Now, number one, ways to relieve your arthritis. This one is something we have to talk about. Now, I get it. I know it. I mean, I have the same things for me. I'm always trying to lose those few pounds. I'm always trying to like keep in better shape and, a better shape than the shape that I'm in right now. I'm always constantly doing that. So I get it. It's not easy, but there is evidence to say if you do keep your weight managed better, you'll have less symptoms of your arthritis. It makes sense, right? Wear and tear. You have a few more pounds on your body. It's going to put more pressure on your joints, more wear and tear on your joints. Makes sense. But here's the good news that I want to share with all of you. Even if you lose a couple pounds, you think, no big, so what? I lost a couple pounds. I didn't lose 40 pounds like the diet said I would lose. But just hear me out. 1 pound of weight loss actually feels like 4 pounds off your body when your body's in motion. So we're mostly in motion, right? We're going for a walk. We're going to pick up groceries. We're going to pick up kids, whatever we're doing. 1 pound weight loss feels like 4 pounds off your knee joints, your hip joint, whatever joint is bothering you, because it's in movement. So if you were to lose 2 pounds, that's like 8 pounds off your body. We all know what it feels like when you've lost some weight and you just feel different. Sometimes the arthritis that's flaring up is nothing to do with anything other than you're carrying an extra couple pounds from like Thanksgiving, or, you overate for the last couple of weeks, or it was somebody's birthday and there was birthday cake in the house and you ate cake every day, whatever the reason is. Maybe too much salt, you're retaining water. 1 pound feels like 4 pounds. So think about it. What if you just get yourself on a bit of a thing and you don't put pressure on yourself, you got to lose 30 pounds, and you lost a solid 5 pounds? That would feel like 20 pounds off your body. I can tell you right now, my knees feel better just talking about it. So that's the good news. This is good news for you and me and everybody else that has a problem with trying to be the perfect ideal weight. Now, if for some reason you got a little bit lazy, let's just say, and you've been eating a lot of convenience foods, for example, and you've gained a pound or 2, that could be enough to start your arthritis to feel worse. So it works both ways. Just want you to be aware of that. That's why I put this as number 1. Now, number 2 is about moving your body. Moving our bodies. Movement is fantastic. Like how often should you move your body? Every day. Unless you're sick and you're lying in bed, you should be moving your body every day. And unless you're really, really, really sick, you should not have more than 2 days of no movement in a row. Okay, so if you're on to the 3rd day, you better be really sick to not be able to move yourself around, or do a little bit of exercise, even arm circles, whatever it is. This is a good time for us to stand up. If you are sitting down, if you've been sitting for a while, stand up, move your body, move your arms, give your body a little bit of blood flow right now. If you're in the lounge, wherever you are, try and give your body a little bit of movement, unless you're taking notes and you're going to do it afterwards. What's the best thing for arthritis is low impact. Why? Because you're not jarring those joints. Now, I go to a specialized class called Orange Theory Fitness twice a week. Now, I'll admit, like, I'm in my 50s, like I turned 57, and there's women and men in the class that are in their 20s. So they're like more than half my age. I guess that's how I say it, more than half my age. And they're jumping around like some of the exercises we have to do. You have to like jump squats and all this stuff. Drives me crazy. But like, I'm thinking, first of all, I don't think they know that I'm 57 this year. I don't say that to anybody. I just let them think I'm younger. But what do? I do it modified. So if it's like even doing jumping jacks, you can do jumping jacks by, putting one leg out, putting the other leg out, however you need to do it. You don't have to jump and put banging pressure on your joints. I can't do that for my knees anymore. Not at the weight that I am. Maybe if I lost 40 pounds, which, the last time I did that was when my mom was very sick and was dying of cancer and I wasn't eating. That's when I was down 40 pounds. But what I'm saying is low impact, great for arthritis. Walking, swimming, Tai Chi, chair yoga, cycling, stationary bike, water activities, fantastic. Water is the best thing for arthritis because it soothes the joints. It supports the body while you do that extra stretch that you can't do when the gravity is a problem. It also helps to keep your joints flexible. It strengthens the muscles around the joint so that the joint itself is happier because the muscles are stronger and can hold the joint. So you get what I mean? So moving your body every day, 20 minutes, that's all I ask. 20 minutes, you will live better, you will feel better. You don't have to do an hour Orange Theory Fitness intensive class. I'm just talking about getting out in your garden maybe and doing a little bit of gardening. Do a couple stretches in the day, something to move your body. Number 3 is the hot and cold therapy. This one's fantastic. We've forgotten about this. This is old school. We used to all have hot water bottles in our house, probably from grandma. I still have my grandmother's red brick colored hot water bottle. And I love it. This hot water bottle has done so much for me. When I'm not feeling great, if it's early morning and my joints are feeling stiff, if it's late at night and I'm having a little bit of discomfort because my joints are throbbing, a hot water bottle to warm your bed up, to warm it up in the morning before you get out of bed even, is fantastic. You can also get electric blankets. You can also have a heating pad. I have one of these beanbag things I put on my neck for my shoulder and neck, especially when I used to work and I was typing a lot during the day. I think I just heated it up in the microwave. I think I remember now. And I would just put it on here and it would just give me that bit of heat. Heat is fantastic to soothe your joints. Cold treatment is fantastic, especially if your joints are swollen. What if you got like swelling happening and you touch your joint and it's hot to touch? Cold treatment can be fantastic. 10 minutes max, that's it. You don't need to do it for half an hour. That does not help freezing a joint, but just having coolness on it for about 10 minutes is worthwhile. So the cold treatment, you can buy those gel packs. They're made with a special gel inside of them. They're really good because you can mold it to the joint instead of using a pack of peas. And you can use the gel pack over and over and over again. You use it, then you clean it, you put it back in the freezer, and it's there when you need it. You don't have to be looking for anything else. So between having a hot water bottle and a gel pack, you're set when it comes to hot and cold treatment. Number 4 is a little different. This one is about acupuncture. Many of you have probably tried acupuncture. If you haven't, I would say give it a try. It comes from ancient Chinese practices involving inserting little, very, very thin needles. You can barely feel it. It's like a tiny little prick. In Chinese medicine, they believe we have energy meridians flowing through our body. They believe that we sometimes have blockages around certain joints. Acupuncture goes in certain meridian points to unleash and get the energy moving again. Please be sure to get a licensed or okay. Hi, Brian. Please make me host.
Hi. Yeah, I will make you co-host back. Just give me a moment, and I will make you host back. Okay.
What happened to Emma? Is she not here anymore?
She's facing some technical issue. That is why I jump in the class.
I
So
see.
you can just
Okay.
make me host for one time, and I will be leading the class for more. Okay.
Okay, let me do
Thank you.
that now. Make you host. All right, you are host now.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry about that, you guys. Let's just get back into this. Okay. I was wondering why Brian was here because Emma was here too, so I'm not sure who's who. Okay. So yeah, make sure you see a licensed person, a certified acupuncture. Like, don't go to someone's basement to like try out acupuncture. It can be kind of expensive, but boy, it really does work. It's definitely been proven that it helps with arthritis. I've used it to help with my sleeping. I was not sleeping very well at one point because of stress and hormones and stuff like that. And acupuncture really helped me get my sleep back on track. All right. Any questions about arthritis? Oh, yeah. Yes, you know what, Stacy? There are some plans that do cover arthritis. Sorry, acupuncture. But I'll tell you the difference. I'm in Canada. My plan only covered it if it was a medical doctor. And how many medical doctors do you know that have acupuncture certification? I don't know that many, like the main medical doctors. So it was kind of like stupid. Like my insurance was stupid because I didn't have coverage because it wasn't typically a family doctor that was going to get there. acupuncturist certificate. But my husband's plan insurance was better because it said acupuncturist, any licensed or certified acupuncturist. It didn't have to be a family, like a doctor. So we had coverage with him. The sessions can be like $70, but here's a little hack for you guys when it comes to acupuncture. If you have one of those alternative medicine schools in your community, like where students go to learn and all that, sometimes part of a yoga studio, like I have here where I live, they have what they call community acupuncture. You still get the licensed acupuncturist, but for me, like it was like one room with about 8 lounge chairs. And so basically the acupuncture, just like a physiotherapist, would be handling 8 patients at the same time. It would be a quiet, dark room. You'd come in, you'd sit in your nice lounge chair with the clean blanket and all that stuff. And you would talk with the acupuncturist, whisper with them for a few minutes. Then they would set you up with the needles and you would just do your relaxation. And they would go, it's like a community where people would come and go into this room that was dead quiet. And that was $20 only. And I did community acupuncture for a while. And boy, did I ever feel better. It was really, that's when I was doing it for my sleep problems. So think about the acupuncture for sure. All right. Number 5 is using use of meditation. Now, this one's really interesting. I want to just tell you meditation, and I'm talking about like 1 or 2 minutes of meditation a day. We're not talking like doing like the full guru up on the mountain meditating for 4 hours. I don't expect you to be a monk, but if you can quiet your mind for a minute, there are apps on the phone that there's one called Headspace. I'll write it in the chat here. There's some different apps. One's called Headspace and Calm. Calm's the other one. I have Headspace right now. And there's like these beautiful little 1 minute meditations. So it kind of walks you through it. What they have found is when you meditate, you actually bring your stress levels down. And here's the neat thing. When you bring your stress levels down, it actually can bring your inflammation down in your body. Wow. Bring your stress levels down, inflammation comes down. When inflammation is down, guess what? Us with arthritis, our joints don't hurt as much because there's not as much inflammation around the joint. Therefore, meditation's fantastic for arthritis. Most people don't put 2 and 2 together and think about it. But, like the lady in the picture, she does like 2 minutes of meditation a day to get her day started. She keeps her stress levels are a little bit lower. Therefore, her inflammation is lower in her body and she does better. You can do this in with Tai Chi, combine it with a yoga practice. If you don't even do any of those other things and you just do a couple minutes of silence, I do a lot of my meditation when I'm in the sauna. We have an infrared sauna in our home, in our spare bathroom. And I do sauna every second day. I had a sauna this morning actually. And I do a little bit of heat and quiet, and a couple minutes of meditation keeps my stress levels in check. That's how this one works. It's fantastic. If you haven't been making meditation part of your life, make it part of your life, even if it's 2 minutes a day. Number 6 is something that some of us have never done. I'm surprised some of us have never had a professional massage. Maybe when you've gone to a hotel and you're splurging and you decide you're going to go for like a Swedish massage or something like that. Getting a registered massage therapist to do a massage is fantastic. And for anybody with arthritis, it gives you a really good, I'd say at least a week or 2, if not 2.5 to 3 weeks, maybe you could squeeze out of it, temporary relief from your arthritis pain. Why is that? Well, at first, they're massaging the part and it hurts, right? They're trying to stretch out the muscles and you're just like, you're so tight that it's like crazy. Think of it this way. When your muscles are tight like this, what do you think it's doing? It's pulling, right? Pulling on your joint. It's pulling on your joint. When your muscles finally relax, it's not going to pull on the joint as much. So at the beginning of the massage, if you've never had one, you're tight, right? You're just like, whoa, you're so tight. But as you let them massage and your muscles start to relax, and that relaxation in your body can last a couple weeks. My mom used to have shiatsu massage once every 3 weeks because she couldn't afford every 2 weeks, but 4 weeks was way too long. And it almost gave her enough relief in between sessions. That's great, Andrew. You try to use Headspace every day. It's a really great app. Yeah, I love Headspace. It's like training yourself to have this habit. No, I'll admit, I don't have the habit of truly doing it every single day, but boy, when I do it, I always feel better. So think about that with meditation. Think about that with massage. If you could even get a massage once every 3 weeks, if you have a plan that covers it, it can be kind of pricey. So I get it if some people don't have the funds for it. But another example, right next door to me, in actual fact, right in the building, right beside my condo building, is a massage school where the registered massage therapists come to get trained. It's a 3-year program, I think. I think it's 3 years. They have like a student school, and all the difference is the students doing the massage, the instructor might be in the room for a little bit of the massage to make sure the student knows what they're doing. But I'm telling you, it was like half the price to have and they're the 3rd year students. They're not like day 1 of school. So that's another way to maybe try massage therapy, and all the schools do it. It's like going for facials. I used to go for facial, have students do facials and things like that. It was way cheaper for me. I could afford to do it more regularly. And I'll say this to you guys right now. When I was a nurse, a student nurse, believe me, you would get better care if you had the student nurse working with you in the hospital, because we did everything to a T and then some, because we were students. So don't think, oh, a student, you're not going to get good service. You're probably going to get, way better service, whether it's a massage, whether it's a student nurse in the hospital that's going to notice everything because they're learning. So just keep that in mind, because I've been a student of a few things. So very conscientious when you're a student. Okay, number 7 and 8. I want you to really pay attention to number 7 and 8. 7 and 8 are things that you need a referral from your doctor. Okay, so you could probably get the referral from your doctor for both of these things. We forget about other specialists in the world. Physiotherapists. When was the last time you went to a physiotherapist? Was it when you broke a bone, or I don't know, when you were a sports injury when you were younger? We forget that there's physiotherapists, and some of them actually specialize in arthritis. They help us to approach our days better, our tasks of everyday life. They will help you with your range of motion. Like say you've got arthritis in your shoulder, they'll help you do some exercises. They'll help strengthen whatever body part needs strengthening. Remember, these guys are specialists, things your doctor doesn't even know. A physiotherapist goes to school for 4 years. Like it is a 4-year degree here where I live. I don't know about where you live, but it's a 4-year university degree to become a physiotherapist. So it's not a 10-month course. Use your physiotherapists. Find somebody in your community that really is great with arthritis. Why live through agony and pain and just accept the fact that you have arthritis and there's nothing you can do about it? Yes, there's lots of things you can do about it. You can be flexible again. You can have range of motion again. You can go on those hikes with your grandkids, all those great things. So physiotherapist, occupational therapist. This is what I wanted to be when I grew up. When I was younger and I wanted to get into the medical field, I applied for nursing school and OT. University degree as well, 4-year thing. They were looking for mature students, and I was right out of grade 12. I was 18 years old, keen, but I got accepted into nursing. That ended up going into nursing. But occupational therapists work with a lot of the older crowd. They are the ones that find the practical ways to manage particular tasks and minimize the amount of effort involved. So if you're suffering with arthritis and you live on your own at home, an OT could come into your home, help you rearrange your kitchen, rearrange your desk, sitting area, your bedroom, whatever it is, so that you can be more comfortable. Now, it might cost to have the OT come and do a home visit, but why wouldn't you want the OT to come to your home? It makes sense, right? The only other time we see OTs are when we are in the hospital. You know, when you're in the hospital and you've had surgery and the OT pops their head into your room and says, good morning, and says, hey, we're going to get you sitting up later on today. Like that's the occupational therapist. If you can remember the days, if you ever were hospitalized, they're the ones that come in and say, okay, let's see how your range of motion is today. Let's see if we can get you standing up and, you know, all that stuff. But they do work in our community. You need a referral. So if you don't learn anything from today, think about finding out what physiotherapists you have, what occupational therapists you have in your community, and have them come and visit you, or you go visit them, the physio, and get on a proper plan and know that you don't have to just put up with arthritis pain. No more. We know too much now. All right, number 9 is the last one, and this is about eating that healthy diet. So in a nutshell, there's a bit of a pun there. I want you to eat whole foods, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, whole nuts, whole foods. Anything that doesn't come in a package is going to help boost your immune system. Unless you are allergic to something, then don't eat it. If we're all individuals. This is something I'll put it in the chat. This is a word you can look up. This is a word. Has anybody heard of this word, bioindividuality? Has anybody heard that term? I learned about it in my health and life training, coaching training. And there's a doctor who kind of came up with this idea, but basically is like this. Pretend Stacy and I, we're friends. Stacy lives down the street. She went on the keto diet and she's like, Ravina, you got to do the keto diet. I've lost 20 pounds already. It's fantastic. You got to do this. And here's the diet. Here's the plan. So I start doing the plan and I'm so excited about doing the exact same thing as Stacy. But like Stacy's now lost 30 pounds and I'm like lost 2 pounds. I'm like, well, this isn't working for me. It's all about bio-individuality. We have different genetic code. I have different habits, different lifestyle, and maybe we have the same environment. Let's say we live next door to each other. We've got the same environment, but we're individuals. You are a unique being as I am a unique being. Therefore, I don't know why, but my body can't tolerate red bell peppers. I got that tested with my gut health. I did like testing for gut. I can't tolerate red peppers. They're so good for us, but I can't. My body, it doesn't agree with me. It doesn't make me feel good. That's my bio-individuality for me. But like a diabetic that can eat carrots and it doesn't set their insulin up, that's because of bio-individuality. If you guys like this, I'll just put it in the chat too. Let me just see here. All right, let me just think about it for a second. Actually, I don't actually have it on my website anymore. Okay, does anybody shop at Amazon? If you want to understand more about bio-individuality, my latest book that I put out, and I don't really usually talk about the stuff in class, but this is really important. If you like and understand bio-individuality or don't understand it and want to understand it more, I have a book out called Longevity and Eating Habits. If you ever go on Amazon, you can look up the book. You can put my name in, Ravina Chandra, in the search and my books will come up, and it's a white book and it's all about longevity and eating habits and how we need to eat to live a long life. And I talk about bio-individuality a lot in this little book. Fantastic. But when it comes to arthritis, again, if something doesn't agree with you, don't eat it. But typically it's the fresh stuff that we eat. But what do you need to avoid? All those foods that increase your inflammation in your body. Okay, so it's different for each of us, but generally excess red meat increases inflammation in most of us. Processed foods increases inflammation. Gluten containing foods, not everybody is sensitive to gluten, but many of us are sensitive to gluten, increases inflammation in our bodies. Sugar across the board increases inflammation in our bodies. Now, alcohol does as well. Here's the one that's a little bit controversial. This is why I wanted to teach you guys about bio-individuality. For many of us, not all of us, many of us, guess what food causes inflammation that I stopped eating last February And now my knees don't hurt as much when I walk. Any guesses? It's a food group. I don't eat it anymore. Rarely. I eat it a little bit, but not a lot. Any guesses? Causes inflammation in many of us. Don't be mad at me over this one. Dairy products. Dairy, yeah, sugar. Okay, so Diane, it's Diana. Sugar, bad for all of us. I mean, I hate it. Sorry if you own a sugarcane field or industry or you're in that, but sugar is just not good for most everybody. 99.9% of us causes inflammation. Sugar does, but dairy is what I'm talking about. Did you know that a lot of us have inflammation from too much dairy? I thought I was doing this great thing, trying to lose weight. I'm having cottage cheese every morning. It's got a lot of salt, but I was having all this great protein. I was having yogurt instead of like with my cereal, instead of like I was doing too much dairy, and it was causing inflammation to creep up in my body. When I cut out dairy, I was doing a special sort of elimination diet thing. When I cut out dairy, OMG, my inflammation just went down, and I didn't have pain in my joints anymore, specifically in my knees. That's my part that's tough, just from cutting out dairy. Yes, Stacy's saying your doctor thought you were lactose intolerant, but it was yeah. And it could be that you're not necessarily lactose intolerant, but it's causing inflammation in your body. You don't feel great. Now, I had a dairy allergy when I was in my 20s, when I was in university, because I was all the worry and the stress from school. And I had a bit of an allergy, but I grew out of that allergy like 5 years after university. So it's been years. Like I went to university a long time ago. Like I'm 57 this year. So dairy is fine. I don't get like that sort of, I used to get like a bit of hives on my face, swelling in my stomach when I had dairy, but that all disappeared. But that doesn't mean that dairy was still good for me. It was causing all the inflammation. My knee, I could visually look at my two legs even before I started walking, and my one knee was almost twice the size of my other knee, just from chronic inflammation. That's a killer, you guys. Chronic inflammation. If I don't teach you anything else, chronic inflammation is insidious. You don't even realize it because it doesn't really hurt. There's not really pain from it, but it does cause, some people will say inflammation equals disease. Inflammation equals disease. A lot of practitioners are saying this now, that inflammation, what does it do? It festers inside of us, it turns into infection, and then it turns into disease, or it can. So I want you to think about that. Okay, we're gonna end the class with 5 foods that actually have been known to bring down inflammation. The first one's turmeric. You've probably heard me talk about it. You've probably heard others talk about turmeric's an Indian spice. You can put a pinch of it in your smoothie. You can put it in soups. You can make dal, which is like an Indian recipe. There's a compound in it called curcumin that just is like amazing at bringing inflammation down. So if that's one of your problems, I know people that take turmeric pills. Please talk to your doctor about that. But they take consistent turmeric and their inflammation is down and their joints don't hurt as much. So this is the number one of the 5 foods. The second one is omega-3 fatty acids. Our body needs that to do good processes to lubricate our body. If you have good omega-3s, that's going to bring down likely pain that you're having from your arthritis, just by having good omega-3s in your diet. Fatty fish, and if you're vegetarian, nuts and seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, pistachios, pick your nut. The third one is vitamin D. Many of us are low in vitamin D, especially in the wintertime. Make sure you're getting adequate vitamin D. Did you know that mushrooms have vitamin D? I was so excited to hear that because I do enjoy eating mushrooms. They're quite high in vitamin D. Otherwise, it's going to be the fatty fish where you're going to find most of it. Liver and egg yolks. So, I don't know that many people that eat liver, but, have a look at that. The next one is nuts. Now, I have people say to me, well, you know, how many nuts should I eat? Well, here's the thing about nuts. How about you eat a handful, like 20 nuts or less? That's about the limit per day. They are high in calories. So if you are trying to lose weight, you don't want to be eating way too many nuts, right? You don't want to be doing that. So I want you to consider having a variety of nuts every day, every second day. That would be super great. I do that. I just put I have these little containers, and we put a few nuts. We sit in front of the TV with them. You know, that's just how we do it. Okay, and this is the last one, healthy oil. Don't forget number 5, healthy oils. Olive oil is your winner here. That's the clear winner. Olive oil has some magical other powers, properties in it that kind of almost mimics those non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like NSAIDs that are quite harsh on our bodies. But olive oil does it naturally. So if you are finding arthritis pain as a problem, cook with some, you know, have olive oil dressings, make your own dressings. This will help to bring down inflammation in your body. I can almost guarantee you're going to feel better with olive oil in your life. If you are somebody with arthritis, absolutely. And you can also do avocado oil. That's really popular these days. You see that in the store. That's got the omega-3 fatty acids in it versus the omega-6s that we get too much of, which is in just your regular plant oils. So avocado, olive oil, I even have walnut oil in my house, but olive oil and walnut oil, you can't heat too high, okay? Unless it's not the extra virgin stuff. You just can't put the heat up too high, so don't cook with them. I would rather you cook with coconut oil or avocado oil. All right, that brings us to the end of the class. Hopefully you have a better understanding of the different types of arthritis and their causes. You've learned 9 ways now to naturally relieve your arthritis symptoms, and you've learned 5 foods.